Welcome back to another episode of the Prospect Pulse podcast. I'm your host, Owen Hurd, joined as always by my co-host, Ross Jensen. You can find me on X at Owen_FBB, Ross at Ross Jensen. Excited for this one today. We've got an interview with Indiana shortstop and second team freshman All-American Cooper Malamazian. Cooper, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. To start us off a little bit, can you tell us about the Cooper Malamazian off the field? Like, what are some things you kind of enjoy outside of baseball?
Yeah, for sure. I love spending time with family and friends. That's most important to me. Some hobbies I like. I like to golf a lot. That's pretty stereotypical for a baseball player. I play video games a lot of sports games, a lot of college football, but I don't do the show. Typical stuff. Those are big things. I love watching sports. I love watching baseball. I love watching football. I'm a big football guy. I love college football and the NFL. Love the fall time because of that. Spend a lot of my Sundays and Saturdays watching those games. Those are mostly things I like to do. A lot of friends, a lot of family. And then obviously sports. I'm a big sports guy.
Fun to watch when we're national champs. Play a little golf, albeit not too well because I played baseball growing up.
Yeah, no, I'm not either, but it's
Slow it down and control it.
time that count. It's a frustrating sport, but good thing we play baseball because it's pretty frustrating too. So you're kind of used to that.
I feel like, and I'm going to embarrass myself a little bit here, but I feel like I'm either like a mid 50s or kind of upper 70s or to the point of where I stop counting and there's kind of no in between.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. You're not alone, man. There's plenty of people out there the same way. Don't worry about that.
Ross, I feel like that second one you has kind of falls up on mine really well. So you want to
Yep.
and get that one on?
Yeah, I was just kind of curious, Cooper, what's a typical day in the life for you as a collegiate athlete? I mean, between all of your responsibilities, training, practice, classes, how do you manage it all? And how's that working out for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. Typically, it's a little different in the spring and the fall. But for a fall scenario, it's a lot, but it's pretty straightforward. Every day is pretty similar, so that's why it's nice because you have a kind of a stricter schedule. Most of the time for me personally in the fall, I had 8 a.m. lift, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. So I'll get up early or go to the field, change, go lift at 8. And then depending on the day, I think Tuesday, Thursday at 9:30 class. So I'd lift and go straight to, class at 9:35. The pretty long class. I try to eat between lift and class, depending on that. A dining hall, right in the facility, in the football facility. So we go there and eat in between. And yeah, class at 9:35 and then class again at 11:10 typically. They spread it out pretty. A lot of us have the same class schedule because practice time, stuff like that. So yeah, we'll do class then 9:35, 11:10, and then typically practice, fall or spring are always at 2 o'clock. Depending on, we'll have individuals at 1, sometimes hitting groups, stuff like that. That'll be at 1 or 2 o'clock. The day kind of ends around 5. Practice normally ends around 5. So then that's kind of when we have our free time. Either we'll go out and eat together, or we'll go home and make food together. It just depends. Then that's kind of where in the college football on Xbox is played a lot. That's a staple for us. We started playing a lot in the fall after our practices. A lot of college football dynasty. That was kind of our day. Come home, make our food after a long day, and then get some rest. That's pretty typical for us. I mean, the eating stuff can be a little difficult sometimes when you're that busy, trying to find times to get your meals in while you're trying to gain weight or lose weight, or whatever it is. But it's something you kind of grasp for once you start doing it so much every day. You kind of find a way and find times to either meal prep or make food, whatever it may be. Uh, but that's kind of a normal day. Spring's pretty similar. Spring's pretty easy. Similar to that. It's like 8 a.m. lift, or yeah, 8 a.m. lift, and then I have a Zoom class. I have 2 in-person classes on Tuesday, Thursday, so it's not as bad as the fall schedule due to all the traveling and stuff that comes around once February comes around, stuff like that. So you don't have to miss as many classes. So it's not as hard to get your meals in during this time because, like I said, I have a Zoom class on Tuesday too. So it's like I'm not running out around the house for anything or facilities. So I have more time to make food at home or go get food. But it's pretty similar, like 8 a.m. lifts and then classes and then practice at 2 o'clock till 5:36 now because the season's coming close. But that's pretty typical. It's kind of as every day, just lift, class, practice, same thing every day.
So Ross and I's focus is actually dynasty, albeit from a baseball lens. So I'm curious
Yeah.
if you have if you share kind of my philosophy on this when it comes to building dynasties. I traded for Fernando Tatis Jr. and Bobby Witt and 2 of our 30 mans. I'm kind of very much like AJ Preller, F them picks, F them prospects. I don't want them on my team. Are there? Can you share kind of any like big kind of blockbusters you've made, or kind of if you're more of a stack the picks, stack the prospects, long run type of guy?
Well, actually, that's a good question because I mean, I like to just have a good team. Like when I'm doing these things, I love just like being in the moment and not like looking in the future. It's just obviously in a game, it's different. But if it was real life, I'd have a different scenario for it. But in the games and stuff, like I just want a good team now. I'm like Kurtz, like we're changing this program right now. It's not like the future's gonna happen right now where your feet are at. That's the way I look at it. So I'm trying to make trades or like in college football, I'm getting recruits. Like I'm getting everyone. I'm trying to make it happen now, and not in 5 years. I'm trying to make an instant impact.
No, I feel like I'm the same way. I just kind of lack the patience.
Yeah,
Really good blueprint on this for like kind of the rebuild and then kind of finding the perfect time to kind of buy in. But I'm like, I'll take over a really bad team and I'll have 130 million in cap space. And I'm like, you know what? We're
yeah,
spending every bit of this, make the team
yeah,
better.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
One thing I kind of noticed early on when I was watching you is kind of your bat speed. You mentioned kind of lifts. Is there kind of any training or kind of strength routines that you kind of attribute to that?
I mean, yeah, we do a lot of stuff here. Chris Hirsch, he's a strength coach, does a great job with that kind of stuff. And then last year, during the winter period, during winter break, a lot of the young guys, freshmen, and then some transfers, they just signed a bat speed program too. Which is Zach Williford. He assigned that kind of stuff. And it's a lot of stuff, not really lifting wise. It's more of like a bat training stuff. So they give like light bats, heavy bats, short bats, all these kind of like different tools they give you to be able to set up a program for you and do it for that like 2 or 3 week period. That helps a lot. And obviously like forearm stuff is a big deal with that kind of stuff. So we do a lot of that in the weight room. But all those kind of things, it's like bat speed. Obviously you can acquire, but it's also something that you get not genetically, but you can be gifted some of that stuff too for some people. Which I think it's a mix of that, luckily, but it takes a lot of work in the gym, stuff like that too, to get to that point. But specifically, yeah, I think it's just a lot of stuff with, legs is important, having good core strength, forearm strength, like I said. They all kind of tie together. And once you stack up those days of 2 years of doing these lifts and stuff like that, it starts to add up.
Ross, when you mentioned forearms, Cooper, that made me think back to that Jackson Holiday tweet you had where everyone was kind of doubting his power coming up. But you're like, just look at the dude's forearms. Like the bat speed is there. Like the strength is going to come. The home runs are going to come.
Yeah.
For sure. I got a question for you. Not anything pre-planned, but I'm just kind of curious. What kind of data and information do you guys use at Indiana to try to tweak your training? Do you have any that you really like focus in on, like launch angles, whatever it might be?
I mean, from a hitting side of it, we don't look too deep into the data. I mean, it's obviously like exit velocities and like you said, launch angles are obviously important things, but we don't like strive to have a certain launch angle. Exit velocities are obviously important. You look at them, and they obviously when you're hitting a game or if we're doing live at bats, if you're hitting a BP, whatever, people look at exit velocities and stuff, which is really important. But we don't prioritize it. The most important thing is being able to get hits and get on base. And that's the most important thing, finding ways to get on base. If you can get hits and find a way on base, that's what you got to do to win. Not necessarily because there can be days where you hit a ball 110 miles an hour and it's going to be an out. That's just the way baseball works. So you can hit a ball 70 miles an hour for a blue pit. And you find a way on base. Obviously, we look at those things every day, but I wouldn't say we go over the limit with it. It's a priority, but it's something that's like gets our heads wrapped around it, or people look at it like every single day.
So
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ross.
no, I was just gonna say, I just think that's great stuff. I mean, it's from my perspective, those are more outcome driven
Yeah,
effects of a good training program. But I was just kind of curious because times are changing, and a lot of those data points are used to tweak the way that people are trained to try to optimize them. So I was wondering what you guys had going on at Indiana like that.
I love how you mentioned kind of the emphasis on base percentage because definitely my approach when it comes to like player evaluation is I'm generally more drawn to power hitters, but also like I want them to be able to get on base. Like I'd much rather kind of a Ryan Clifford versus an O'Neill Cruz type player. Although
got it.
Cruz the higher upside, but like I think when you're able to get on base, take a walk, and your power isn't kind of the only intangible there for you to be a effective big league hitter. It gives you that kind of floor that some of those power hitters don't have.
For sure. Yeah.
And this is kind of going back a little bit, but I was curious to hear about kind of the 2024 draft process. You were drafted in the 17th by the Brewers, an organization that I really admire from kind of a development and kind of player development perspective. I was just curious if there's any consideration on your part about that, or kind of what that process was like for you.
Yeah, it was honestly kind of crazy. It was a crazy time. I was actually in Bloomington. You're here for the summer when it happened, and throughout my senior year of high school, I knew that I had talked to a few teams and I had gone through the process a little bit. But I think that I don't have any regrets or anything about the decision. I think coming to Indiana was the absolute best decision I could have made. Just because, the coaching staff here is super good at developing players, and, it felt like a family and a culture that I didn't wanna miss out on, especially with the class we had coming in. I know some guys also got drafted from my class and, some took it, some didn't, and obviously everyone has their reasons for what they decide, but there's definitely no regrets that I have for doing that. I think it's, like I said, the best choice that I made was coming here and developing as a player. So obviously, I think personally, like for that time, I was a little bit undersized, and I didn't think personally I was prepared for it. I think I definitely could have been. But I think that I just wanted to come to college and get the college experience and, play college baseball and travel a little bit and just meet. And also, like I met so many, some new of my best friends, like just a lot of people I've met that have changed my life in a positive way. So it just, I wouldn't, change it for anything. But obviously, going through that process is a cool experience, and like obviously getting drafted, something like, you talk about forever. It's something that's, special, but obviously just more goals to be attained.
Yeah. Kind of follow up to that. Was that kind of a confidence booster for you, like knowing that, a very good developmental team was kind of interested in you in the 2024 draft and kind of was that kind of an extra motivator going into your freshman year at Indiana?
I mean, it was definitely cool thing, but the thing is, like, you get to college and nobody really cares what happened before that. Like, none of the players do, which they shouldn't. But the same thing now being a sophomore, like people get drafted coming in here. It's like, well, guess what? Now you're in college. Like, it's just in the past, and it was a cool thing, but I kind of moved past it pretty easily because I realized I had to still work my butt off and to get in the field and prove myself, all stuff like that. It's kind of like betting yourself. You're kind of just like you're going to college and big on yourself to continue to develop and become a better player. So it's obviously a cool thing, but I didn't look at it too much. I kind of just put it behind me, and then put my best foot forward to keep developing and keep becoming a better player.
Kind of also going back a little bit, but I know you played high school at Nazareth with Jaden Fauske, drafted this year to the White Sox. He's a prospect I really like. I have a couple shares of in my Dynasty FYPs. I was wondering if you could kind of give us a scouting report on him, just kind of playing around him. Give us a little rundown from your perspective.
Yeah, I definitely had a very enjoyable 4 years of high school. We had a pretty good team, play a lot around a good talent. Jaden, I've known Jaden since I was a young kid, 7 years old. We played actually our first year of travel baseball was when we were 8. We were teammates. Our dads coached our travel team from our local town. So I've known Jaden for a while. And then we kind of separated for a few years. I got older and separated teams. And then obviously he came to Naz as long as I did. So we both kind of went through that process. And I say this all the time, people that I know, I'm like, I think Jaden's one of the best hitters I've ever been around. Like, I think he is a complete player. He's got all the tools you can ask for in a hitter. He don't chase at all. And he has some of the best bat to ball skills I've ever seen, some of the best bat speed I've seen. I think he's gonna make an impact on the organization sooner rather than later. That's my personal opinion, but I think people would also agree with that. Just being around him and how hard he works, and he's just a stud as a player, and he's got everything going for him. So I think he's gonna make an impact pretty soon for the organization.
Yeah, and Ross, I know you had one about kind of the jump to high school to collegiate. I know it feels like kind of a timely one to put in here.
Yeah. Just kind of curious if you could talk about that a little bit more in depth. Like, how did that jump, how drastic was that for you? How much did you have to adapt and change to be prepared to play at the collegiate level versus what you were doing in high school? Is there a specific moment where you were in the weight room or during practice where you thought, okay, this is a real different level?
Yeah, so that's actually funny because I got a few experiences. I think the biggest difference between high school and college, obviously for us, a lot of us players who played in college went through high level of baseball in high school, going to East Cobb and those big tournaments down south and those ones you play in where you face some of the best talent in the country, which obviously prepares you like physically wise and seeing the good pitching and stuff. But the biggest difference I noticed is just the pace of the game. It's a lot faster than it is in high school. Like, you got to be ready all the time. It's just a big difference. And obviously talent wise, you're playing guys who were at least like last year. It's just a weird experience. When you're 18 years old playing guys who are 24. It's just a complete, like, mindset wise, it's just different. And obviously getting there in the fall, they prepare you pretty well for the spring because you play a lot of fall games, a lot of scrimmages. So you see, all the pitching and all the hitters, like the actual talent of the game you can kind of get used to in the fall. I remember vividly my like welcome to college baseball moment was like We played Louisville in the fall at Louisville as a for a fall game. Josh Pine, the third baseman, was actually hurt at the time, so I got to start at third base in the first fall game. And Zion Rose is up and he hit a ball like 120 miles an hour at me at third base, like the first inning of the game. I made the play, but I was like, that ball was hit hard. Like I was like, it just came. I just picked it, like closed my eyes and picked it. I was like, that was like the first play I ever got at the first inning of the game. I was like, this is welcome to it, I guess. But like how that's the thing, I love that kind of stuff. I love like kind of embracing that and making an impact early, and you get used to it as you play more, and like you got experienced and veteran guys who are older that help you out with that too. Like last year, like I said, Josh Pine was one of the biggest influence on me that I had. He was like a coach to me. He helped me out play third base early on in the year. I didn't know how to play third at all. I'd always play middle infield growing up. I didn't play much third base at all. So like he was a big mentor for me in that perspective, and just in how the game speed's different, how the game's played at this level. I mean, obviously a ton of older guys who helped out that, but like Josh Fine specifically was like in my corner the whole time. So that was a huge thing that helped me a lot. But yeah, it's the pace of the game. It's just a lot different than high school. But like you get used to it, and once you do, you kind of just go with the flow.
I remember I played a little third base in high school. We played one of the top teams in Texas at the time, and there was a ball that like I didn't even know how hard it was hit at me at the time, but it was like 106 off the bat, just like right at me. And my team had like a bunch of guys who had kind of just started playing in high school, but we weren't a competitive program. And then those really good teams in Texas, and you've got these guys that are probably going to get drafted or go D1 in college, just hitting balls at you, and you're like, holy crap! Like
I was it's crazy, but it's competitive, man. It's fun.
Yeah, I think that was one of those moments, admittedly, that looking back at it makes me appreciate more that I can tweet about baseball and still follow the game from the sidelines, kind of being on the field, because those hard hit balls can come at you quick.
For sure.
I mean, I know just personally from 18 to 24, like that age range, like I grew tremendously. I was like a twig when I was 18 and closer to being a man when I was 24. So I can imagine that you're seeing all kinds of different physical build, strength, all kinds of stuff.
But also it's like you have guys on your own team that way, which is a huge deal because they help you grow as a person, help you mature. Like you can come in as a not knowing what it's like, and depending on where you're from, you don't know. It's the lifestyle is different, but those guys who come in just help you mature as a person, and they help you become just a better human overall and better player. But they help you so much with the pace of the game and just how it really works this level.
You touched on this a little bit, but like kind of getting right into action in your kind of first fall game freshman year, I've noticed kind of Indiana more so than some other programs. The freshmen do have a kind of clearer path to like an everyday type of role. Like kind of you and Josh Hanley too were two last year, or Jake Hanley were two last year that kind of got kind of extended looks every day as a freshman. I was just wondering if you could share just kind of like what you feel like kind of that did for your development, and kind of what that moment was like, kind of being in there day one and kind of given that shot to play every day.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, Indiana is like they really harch on the fact that they're gonna bring you into high school and they're gonna develop you as fast as they can. Like they really focus on the impact and development of freshmen because they obviously they get portal guys that they have to, but they really believe in high school players and developing them in everyday players. And they give you that chance. Like last year, like I said, something happened and I got in the fall, and then got my chance again. Came in the spring. Early on, I had played defense the first like 8 games I played. I played in every game, but I just played defense late in the game. And then I'd finally gotten a start against Xavier in the midweek game, and then I had a few hits, and then didn't play, and then played again next midweek game, had a few hits again. It's all about just taking advantage of the opportunities you get, not looking back. That's kind of the way I looked at it. You got to just, put your head down and work while you can, and then you get your opportunity. You got to just run with it.
I know you kind of touched on this one a little bit. You mentioned Josh Pine, former Indiana third baseman, just kind of being a great mentor for you. I saw a kind of perfect game video where Landon Thome, who's a top recruit in the 26th class, he had credited you as someone at Nazareth who had really influenced his game. I was just wondering if maybe there were some kind of pro players that you maybe model your game after, or kind of other college players who have kind of influenced the way you play the game.
Yeah. I'd always grown up, coaches around me had always told me to play the game, the hardest you can play, go out there when you're in between the lines, you're playing 100%. You sprint out to your position. you sprint back in the dugout, you just play hard the whole time. And I think that's a big deal, especially like even in high school, when I was a senior, like being a leader is really important to me. And it's a part of, being a vocal leader, but also leading by example, going out there and practicing hard, playing hard. It just, younger guys look up to me in high school, like, and they look at me playing hard and practicing hard. Like, obviously, I was a good player at the time, and people like when I see guys coming as a freshman, I see like some of the best players here, practicing hard, playing hard. It makes me want to do the same thing, right? So it's like a chain. You want to just have a way of, not have a way, but having like an identity, of course, like just running out, playing hard all the time. And so having a lot of coaches growing up teaching me that had definitely helped out. But a player I look up to all the time is Dandy Swanson. He's a shortstop for the Cubs. I'm a huge Cubs fan, but he's kind of like I'm like Dandy Swanson. He's the style of play he plays by. He's just a great infielder and can hit and plays hard. The guy go to Cubs games. I watch him, play shortstop and innings. He's just firing the ball to first base. That's how it's done. Now, there's some guys out there who just lob it across the infield and just kind of are really lackadaisical, which obviously they do their own thing. But I think just as a personal for myself, I just want to make sure that, in those lines, I'm playing 100% and showing what I can do and making sure that I'm not, giving a bad example to anyone else. I've seen that as a younger guy too. In high school, I've seen older guys not do that. And then you kind of see how it affects the program, how it affects everyone else. They get lazy, and it's kind of like a whole chain. So I think having a good leadership role, just being in the lead by example kind of guy, and being a vocal leader is really important.
No, please. I'm a Red Sox fan, so I'm hoping that one's still that was a little bit, but we both had those long World Series droughts, so it's
tell me about it, man.
nice to have competitive teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a question for you, Cooper. I'm kind of just curious what the decision making process to end up at Indiana was like for you. Did you know right away, or did you have a moment when you were on campus and you knew? Were you considering other schools at the time? What was that like for you?
Yeah. So the recruiting process for college really started my freshman year of high school. I talked to a few schools early on freshman year, and then kind of the summer going to sophomore year of high school is when it kind of blew up a little bit. Talking to a few Big Ten schools and a few around the East Coast, and then I had a camp at my local travel baseball facility. It's a Thome in town in Illinois that they had a college scouting camp with like a bunch of Big Ten teams and then some like mid-major schools around the area. Deanna was there. Dustin Gallant was there, saw me. And they actually recruited me to be a pitcher in the first place. So I was like a two-way kind of. So they recruited me. He saw me as a pitcher. And I was like, no, I can hit. I promise I can hit. I was a primary like two-way guy, but they wanted me to pitch. When I got to school, I took a visit in September or October my sophomore year. And I fell in love with it. Just the campus, the coaching staff, Coach Mercer, all those guys. Like it felt like home to me when I got on there. And I made it pretty quick. I committed October, I believe, of my sophomore year, and nothing ever changed. And I got to campus, and I was actually my locker still says RHP/infielder. I'm supposed to be a pitcher, but that never really panned out. So I was like, 'cause I didn't pitch much, but they saw me and Glenn saw me and wanted me to pitch. So I was like, yeah. I think we need to try and infield and let me hit.
What's your best pitch?
Fastball. That's about all I got. I was a projected pitcher. I wasn't really good at the time, but he saw something in me. I was like, all right. But I still thank him for that because I don't know if I'd be here without that. So, but it all ended up working out. So it's a pretty interesting way because no one really knows that I really came here to be a pitcher. But yeah, no, that didn't pan out too well.
Speaking of kind of on the pitchers topic, I know you've kind of just had one season at Indiana, but what would you say are kind of the toughest pitches that you've faced from kind of any pitchers in college baseball from teams that you've played against?
Yeah, that's a good question. I said the best pitch I've ever seen. I don't know his name, but he's a lefty at Iowa. He plays some in the Big Ten tournament. He threw some splitter at me, a 3-2 count. It's like I just saw it coming in. It just fell off the table. It was just, I always say it's the best pitch I've seen in college. I don't know his name, but whatever it was, good pitch. But that's the thing too. A big part of that is like being a freshman early on in the year, there's no scouting reports on you. So you're kind of just getting fastballs a lot. And that's kind of where you break out, in my opinion. And once you start playing, the season goes on, you get scouting reports on you and, throwing you spin and stuff like that. So as the year went on, I started to get a lot more curveballs and sliders and spin and change ups, whatever it may have been. A lot of guys stuck out to me. A lot of lefties. I would say Iowa staff. I was Friday guy and or Saturday guy that threw. Those two were probably the toughest. I mean, I struck out 7 times. I got struck out 7 times in 2 games against Iowa. It was not my brightest showing. Those guys definitely had their name on me. But I would say, yeah, that staff was solid too. They definitely my toughest time personally was against those two guys.
I remember the Michigan State game I went to, seeing Joseph Zierwa's changeup. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, like that was
Yeah.
one that I was wondering if you were going to say because I saw that pitch and I'm like, how do you hit that?
Yeah,
Like,
he was a stud. He was a stud too. I would say him too. I mean, he's just a big lefty that throws hard and nothing straight. So that's the hardest part of those guys that those sinker slider changeup combos where it's just nothing is gonna go your way. You got to just kind of find the barrel with it. But yeah, he was a stud too.
so you mentioned kind of like, early in the year, like other teams don't have kind of the full report on you and kind of will just throw you a lot of fastballs. And then kind of as the season goes on, they kind of start to make adjustments, learn how to pitch to you a little bit better. What would you say are some kind of adjustments mid-year last year that you kind of made as a hitter, as you kind of saw, as you mentioned, kind of more spin, more off speed, more breaking stuff?
Yeah, I mean overall the approach to plate is the same. We really preach just sitting looking fastball the whole way and then kind of just adjusting to the off speed. One thing I started with early on was kind of just chasing sliders early in the count. So just kind of just raising my sights, just looking for anything up on the zone rather than just swinging early in the count. So I would get a little swing heavy early in the count and just sliders in the dirt, stuff like that, chase a little early. And that was an adjustment I had to make. Obviously, and that's something I work on this year too, was kind of just raising my sights and really focusing on, getting the fastball that I want and not missing it. If you even get one, that's kind of the most important thing because you may only get one pitch to hit in every at bat, whether you get walked or they just dot a slider low and away or a changeup down the zone. It's just you don't at this level. It's just a lot of good arms that you see that don't want to give you a good pitch to hit, and so it's kind of just finding those pitches to hit and executing that. But yeah, the biggest thing I would say, adjusting to it was just, raising my sights and just sticking to my approach, which is just fastball early and sit on it with 2 strikes, look for it away, and then kind of adjusting everything in.
And I saw a video too. You got some big praise from the Indiana manager Jeff Mercer, mature beyond his years, to describe you defensively. I was wondering if there is kind of, I know your athleticism when I watch you. I was just wondering if there's kind of an element of your defense that you kind of take the most pride in.
Yeah, I think honestly, the biggest thing that I like to take pride in is just being able to lead the field as a shortstop. You're kind of the middle of the man of the infield, and you don't necessarily run the outfield, but you're relaying stuff to them. And I think I kind of embrace the fact that I'm pretty vocal out there, and that's something I've tried to work on. Aside from the fundamentals and all the fielding ground ball stuff like that, I think the most important thing to me is just being able to lead the field. Obviously, there's the catcher, the shortstop, and center field. Those are kind of the three main guys in the field that kind of run it. And you need to relay stuff and obviously the pitches and stuff, calling down. We need just be able to manage the game at a higher level. That's something I take pride in because it's a underrated part of the game that people overlook a lot in my opinion. And obviously, like I take pride in being able to make some plays. That's something you can always get better at. So it's like you can manage that however you want to, but I think the thing I take pride in the most is just being able to control the game at my own pace and being able to manage it pretty well.
No, I love how you mentioned just kind of the game management part because I feel like shortstop it's kind of such an important position. Whether it's kind of you see this kind of in the draft, a lot of teams kind of drafting shortstops even if they kind of move off to other
Yeah.
positions because of how athletic they are and their ability to kind of, as you mentioned, kind of make plays and control the game. And I'm curious to this one. I'm just curious about like kind of the mental aspect of kind of being an athlete. Like obviously baseball, it can be a streaky game. As a kind of pitcher, you can have outings where you dominate, and then a rough stretch where you're posting kind of an ERA over 5. As kind of a hitter, you can have 1 month where you're just kind of tearing the cover off the ball, hitting 350 plus. Just pitchers can't pitch to you, and then the next month, maybe they adjust a little bit. It's harder for you as a hitter. I was just wondering if there's what kind of helps you just kind of stay grounded and just kind of focus on your game, even amidst kind of tough stretches as a player.
Yeah, I mean the game's hard enough itself. It's one of the most mentally draining sports in the world. I mean, you fail more than you succeed, so it's definitely not an easy thing to deal with. I guess that I just think about when I'm playing the game is just having fun with it. It's just at the end of the day, it's just a game, and I'm fortunate enough to beat this level of baseball. There's no reason to drill over it, and you kind of just got to move on. It's like I like to say it's just next day, one day at a time. Stay where your feet are at. If you're struggling to play one day, move on. You gotta be able to adjust. at bat by at bat, game by game. That's just part of the game to be successful. And so, kind of just focusing on preparation and what you do beforehand. You got to just trust that and trust yourself and be able to do that. But I don't like to, show it a lot. Obviously, the game can get frustrating where sometimes it comes out and people show their frustration. But body language is super important to me, and being able to show that I'm not frustrated. Yeah, bat to a pitcher, like the biggest edge a pitcher can have is knowing that you're frustrated because then they know you can just, you're in your head already. So it's kind of be able to just manage that. Um, and just know that it's just a game. You want to have fun with it, and you got to just keep moving on. Short memory, it's the biggest thing. Day by day, you can have a bad Friday game, but turn around and have a good Saturday game. It's the small things that happen, but it's the way the game works. Just you fail a lot, but you got to just the more you fail, the worse you see. Is the way I say. Because in this game, the more you fail, you figure out what you're doing wrong. You got to change it and then make adjustment.
Well, now with that said, what are your you just said have a short memory, but like what are some of your longer term goals and aspirations? What do you hope to get out of your collegiate career? Are you going to try to go professional afterwards? What are your plans?
Right now I'm just focused on winning for our team. Obviously last year we didn't have a season we really wanted to with the talent we had. We kind of us sophomores and all the guys kind of came together and were like, we want to win, man. Like it's just a bunch of winners who want us to succeed. Like that's what we're really focused on right now is just, finding ways to, come out with wins or down the year and just keep on going throughout the rest of the year this year. And kind of just because last year's the bad taste in our mouth after what happened. We had a lot of talent, but we couldn't get it done. And I hate losing. I'm not a fan of losing. I like to win. That's what everyone does, but I really like to win. Coming here and just getting a win for the, hopefully, go and have a successful season. Not for us, for the coaches. They work their butts off for us and everyone, support staff, everyone who supports us. It's just like you want to go out to win for them, obviously for your own satisfaction, but you want to do it for everyone else around you. And then obviously, yeah, I mean, my goal is to play professional baseball and whatever I can do to get there, I got to do it. But, I'm gonna work hard and see where that takes me. But that's the goal ultimately.
No, I love how like you mentioned kind of using last year as kind of a motivation for this year and kind of leaving a bad taste in you all's mouth. I was curious if there's been kind of a focal point of the off season for you in terms of your game, whether it's kind of something that you've been really kind of focusing on more so than some other things to improve on or just kind of grow as a player, or just anything that has kind of stood out to you as kind of something that you focused on a bit more than others. I know kind of spring ball is starting up in a couple weeks. And so just curious if there's anything that's been kind of a focal point or really kind of hammered out over the off season for you.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's a lot of things. Everything is important. There's always a way to get better every single aspect of baseball. It's just a hard sport. And you're never really great at it until you really are. It's just like you can be really good for a day and not good one day. So it's just one of those sports. But I think the little things are really important. But one thing we really focused on this year was just our defense in the infield. Cleaned up a little bit as a whole, not just me, but everyone, which is important. We all wanted to get better at defense. I know it's a common saying, but defense wins championships is a real thing. Defense is so important. There's nothing like having a pitcher throwing their butt off and you make an error. It's just the worst feeling in the world. So you want to just make sure that that's kind of perfected. We take that stuff seriously. We work our butts off our infield and our defensive individuals, and we don't take it lightly. We go hard every single day. We're trying to prove something, obviously. And then offensively, a lot of things, obviously, but limiting the strikeout, just focusing on better pitch decisions and stuff like that. Obviously, it's harder to work on that, but we did a lot of stuff with machines and make some stuff up. So that was a huge thing for me. But kind of just maintaining everything and just keep gradually getting better every day throughout the whole time we had. It's been obviously we got here in August. I've been doing it since now, so it's a lot of stuff's been stacking up. But hopefully, it pays forward.
You mentioned kind of the hunger in the clubhouse, especially now kind of having a lot of sophomore guys that, kind of want to come in and win. I was curious, you were your second team Big Ten freshman last year. Just curious if you had kind of any more individual goals this year.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's goals that I'm going to have, but I don't really focus too much on those. Like I said, the goals for me are just going to win, man. Like we just want to win. Obviously the individual comes, they're nice, but like ultimately we just want to have, the satisfaction of winning games for everyone around us. That's really what I'm focused on. I'm really dialed in on it. And I think all of us are at the team. Like the team camaraderie this year is it's a special group and everyone in the locker room wants to win. And you don't find that very often. A lot of places, a lot of guys think that not going to bring a program down, but just can bring the team morale down a little bit. So having that kind of camaraderie and just buying into the program is just really special. And we know we have something like that. So I think we all just putting our best foot forward, trying to get better every day for ourselves, but also for the team.
So you mentioned this pitcher with this killer splitter, and I I had to like look into it. I was like, who is this guy? Does the name Brant Hogue ring a bell?
I know him, but it wasn't him.
What's him?
He was yeah, he's good. I think he's gone now. He was older. He threw on Friday against us. He was actually the only guy I was able to get a hit off of. I had 4 strikeouts in the Friday game against their starters, and then he came in late in the game. If I fit that bad, I was like, I can't strike out 5 times, and I squeaked a little hit.
Okay, so was it the starter that you struggled against, or that had that splitter?
The splitter one was it was the game, and you're in Omaha. It wasn't like one of the weekend starters. It was like a midweek starter for them.
Well, we gotta get
He's a
the podcast sleuths on this one.
Yeah,
Somebody will figure it out in the comments.
yeah. He's a funky lefty. He was good. So props for that splitter, whatever it was, whatever that pitch is. I don't want to see it again.
I'm like invested now. I'm like trying to figure out who the splitter is so I can. No, so Cooper, to share just a little bit about Scout the Stat Line, the company that this podcast is under. So the highlight of our model is the peak projections model. So we do kind of peak projections for minor league prospects. We also have kind of college tools as well, the pitcher and hitter game scores that we have. I'm curious, when you kind of think of like what kind of like when you think of kind of a peak projection for yourself, I'm curious if you had just anything that kind of came to mind for you.
Yeah, I mean,
Give us your slash line.
I'm gonna just throw some. I think that obviously I got a good potential. I think I have a lot of room to fill out. I got to put a lot of weight on and stuff like that. I can think, but I think I've really reached a small of my potential. I think I can get a lot better as a player. There's always room for improvement, everywhere. Obviously, that goes for everyone. But I think for myself specifically, I have a high ceiling that I can hopefully fulfill, and I'm going to work towards that. But like I said, it's just I don't like to focus on too much stuff in the future. I just stay day by day and stay where my feet are at. That's just most important to me, because ultimately today is the most important day there is. So you got to just continue with the best foot forward for that day. And then when tomorrow comes, it's tomorrow. And then after that, just keep going forward. Just focusing on that every single day. But that's what's most important to me.
Okay, one more shot at that Iowa starter. Was it Cade Obermueller?
No, he was the Friday guy. That guy got me 4 times though. He did have a splitter, but he got me like 4 times. He was the one. He was the guy who threw on Friday. No, this guy, yeah, he got me really good. But the splitter guy, I don't know. He's a lefty. He is a lefty. He pitched. He started the game against us when we played him in Omaha. So whatever that was, and
Okay, so I got a name on here, Gilly.
yeah, that's what it is. The D. That's what it is.
Hey, yeah. Okay. I
Okay,
think we got to the bottom of it. How about that?
He was a midweek guy. I don't think I don't know what his role was, but he pitched against us in that game. He only threw 1 inning. They kind of bullpenned us that game, but no, he got me pretty good.
So I got the Friday and Saturday starter. For rotation options, Reese Boyder, Anthony Watts, and Bryson Walker.
Was that the rotation? Was that what you were asking?
Yeah, I was curious if it was any of those guys.
They threw Friday was Obermueller. Saturday was a righty. His name was I think Savary was his name.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing on here.
Yeah, that's the kid. He got me good too. That kid was good. Their whole staff. Iowa's the best staff I faced that year for sure.
I'm curious.
From the year, you face a lot of good arms. You can't remember them all. I can visualize a lot of pitches that I was like, that's a good pitch. I can't remember who threw it or who was against. You see a lot of pitches in the year, obviously, but some do stick out to you. But just that weekend in general was just a tough weekend offensively for a lot of us. But obviously, it's a new year, so we're focusing on that now.
Curious too. I asked you earlier, just kind of any like the best kind of pitches you had seen in kind of college. I'm curious, are there like any matchups that stand out for you? Like maybe like, okay, last year this guy got me good, but I'm ready on 2.
We want names. We want names here.
I don't have the greatest memories. I don't know how old some guys are, so I don't know if guys are still there, if they're still not. I'm trying to think of anyone like I know personally that I faced last year. I didn't really face anyone I knew like that I had played with like prior. I don't really have anyone specifically that I mean, I will say that I'm excited to go and play. Obviously, North Carolina and LSU. That's gonna be sweet. That's gonna be tough for us, but obviously that's something we want early in the year. It's gonna be a good challenge early on. There's a lot of arms that I'm excited to face, but there's no one specifically that I'm like I'm gonna get you back. I don't really know. I think most guys, if I was, they either got drafted or graduated. We faced a lot of older arms last year for the most part.
Yeah, I was looking up this Datay's guy's Ben Datay's profile, and he's pro now. He pitched in Double-A last year a little bit. So
Interesting.
Okay, I have a bit of a rapid fire for you. You mentioned kind of liking going out to eat with the teammates, so I have kind of a Bloomington restaurant kind of rapid fire for you, real quick.
All right.
So Goodfellas or Mother Bears?
I actually was just at Mother Bears like 2 hours ago. So I'm gonna go, I love Goodfellas, they're both good, but if we're talking just in general, Mother Bears, with pizza, Goodfellas. That's
Okay.
tough.
Okay.
But Mother Bears is more.
I thought you were gonna break my heart for a second there because I'm firmly like a Goodfellas pizza, Mother Bears, breadsticks, sides, anything
Yeah,
else.
yeah.
Okay. For burgers, Upland or the Tap?
See, I haven't had the Tap in a long time. I had that, like, when I first got here. But the Tap is good. Upland's good too. I'll say Upland. I like Upland burgers.
But yeah, no, I went their parents' weekend one time, and those wings were fire. So it's been a while for me since the Tap.
Yeah.
Breakfast and brunch, Runcible Spoon or the Village Deli?
Mm, I love the Runcible Spoon. I like that place a lot. I actually haven't gone in a while. I've gone since, like, early in the fall. I'll have to go back there soon. But, the Village Deli is good too. They're both good. The Village Deli I haven't had either since, like, I went there, like, with my mom one day, like, when I first, like, came here in the fall, like, my freshman fall. So it's been a while, so I'll have to go Runcible Spoon.
Okay, baked or insomnia?
Ooh, Insomnia all day. Not even close, in my opinion.
I mean, used to be around that like baked, the one on North Kirkwood up there, right? They would just give away
Yeah.
the box at the end of the night. So I have a little bit of soft spot for baked, but I had insomnia for the first time recently, and I don't think I'm ever going back to baked.
Yeah, that's what yeah,
And then staying on the sweets, Hartzels or Brusters?
Rusters.
You can never go wrong with Hartzels, though.
Yeah, I know, but we get it all the time in the fall. It's just like, I don't know, controversial one for sure.
Okay, and then one kind of campus spot one, Dunn Meadow or Sample Gates?
I mean, it's just iconic. I think it's just like when you think of Indiana University, you just think of Sample Gates. When you look it up on the internet, it's just the first thing you see. I think it's just super iconic in my opinion.
Okay, and kind of a little bit off the rapid fire, but most overrated, most underrated spot in Bloomington.
As just like location wise, or like what's the criteria here?
Place to visit, restaurant, anything.
Overrated spot? That's tough, man. It just depends. Overrated, like what's that? Like across from Kelly, that big grass area. That could be a crazy take, when you walk to class, like the fields, yeah, the soccer fields over there. It's that whole like area. I don't like it's just a little overrated. I don't really walk that way much. And like everyone's always walking there. It's always super crowded and packed and like overwhelming. It's that whole section in general where it's like Kelly and there's like the walkway and like I'm driving like during the class hour, just like I can't even get through there. It's like it's just so annoying and frustrating. Like trying to get to like practice or something if we're going from class. It's just like let me get out of here. Everyone's walking in front of me and like I can't even get past it. It took 20 minutes to get to the field from like a 2-minute drive.
Yeah, no, that cross
Um,
is infuriating from like
yeah, I can't stand it. I can't stand it. But underrated spot. Oh man, it is tough. I mean, I would just say Barkhoffen Field, our field, underrated.
field.
People gotta make their way out. It is really nice. I think it's like, I mean, just as like a walking out of practice some days from our field, it's like a beautiful view, the sunset, like down from our little driveway thing we have. It's just like every day I walk out of there, I'm like, wow, it's just another beautiful day in Bloomington, man. It always is.
No, especially in the spring, because I remember like some of those March games were like really cold, but especially when you get to kind of sweatshirt weather in like kind of
Yeah.
late March, early April. Really nice.
Even in the fall too, when it kind of leaves are out and it's getting a little chilly out, it's just a beautiful time to be there.
Ross, did you have anything else?
I loved that. I don't know any of those places. So I guess
You
that
know
means
what?
I gotta go down there and make a visit sometime. Check them all out.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're on my side with the Goodfellas part because I said this to my friends in our group chat a few weeks ago. Goodfellas clears Mother Bears isn't even close, and they're like, "That's
Yeah.
the ridiculous take I've ever heard."
Goodfellas pizza is just it's really good. I mean, it's just well, I mean, pizza at Mother Bears is good, but they got like everything else in the world is like is just good. But the pizza, I don't know. I literally just had like literally 2 hours ago, and I hadn't had it. Funny story, I haven't had it in like since probably last year around this time. So it's pretty ironic that you guys asked that. And one of the transfers was asking, "Hey, have you had Mother Bears before?" I never had it. I want to try it. I was like, "Yeah." So all the football players and all that deals with them and stuff with the whole sauce, and they'd see it on social media and hadn't tried it before. I was like. Yeah, it's good. I haven't been in a while. But, it's definitely good. I actually have leftovers probably gonna get tonight. But Goodfellas pizza clears it, in my opinion.
So I like this is kind of a hot take, but like I Pizza X has never done it for me. Like unless I'm like really hungry, I don't know
Yeah.
if it's the square slices or what.
That's me too, I agree. I'm not a huge fan of pizza.
No, I see. Like I see Like, I'll see the delivery cars all over the place, and
all over. It's like
this is distant third for me. Like,
no, yeah, I completely agree. I'm trying to think about have you had Max's Place before?
I don't think I have.
You gotta try it out. It's right
Max.
I don't know if you know where Square Donuts is. It's like on the corner. It's like it's by if you know where C-Mart is? Convenience
Yes.
by Memorial. If you go
Yes.
down the street, it's like I live like right by here, but it's down the street. It's called Max's Place, it's a pizza place. It's actually really good. And Dave when I reviewed it, he gave like an 8, which is like good for his pizza score. And
Yeah.
I didn't know what the space was till he reviewed it. Like he reviewed it during the season for football, and I kind of just watched the pizza reviews, and I had never seen it or heard of it. But he reviewed it for some reason, and it was pretty good. And I got it recently, and I did not dislike it for sure. I think it's probably better than Mother Bears and
I'm willing to overlook his Goodfellas.
not bad. But that was just whole. That was beyond the pizza. That was just the whole controversial thing. That was a mess. But no, the Goodfellas is always going to be good.
No, I think for mine too, I've been going to Buccetto's recently on Sundays, the one by College Mall. Love that place.
Yeah,
The chicken fettuccine Alfredo every single
South Mall is always a good spot to go to for food. You got everything over there, man. That Chick-fil-A, I put my life in that Chick-fil-A. I'm there like every day.
I always tell people this, but like every time I want Chick-fil-A's on a Sunday and then I realize they're closed and I'm like, dang it.
That happens all the time. I mean, that's not even like it's the worst feeling in the world when you like get up and try to go and you look at your phone. It says Sunday. Okay. My dreams are just crushed. And it's like, I don't know. But Chick-fil-A, yeah, the thing is that Chick-fil-A is never not packed because it's the only one out here. So it's like there's always a line out in the Target for that place.
No,
Yes.
I'm glad I can share that pain with someone because it's like everyone
Yeah.
I talk to is like, dude, just go on any other day. But it's like I always want it on Sunday.
Yeah, it just happens. It's pretty common, I feel like. It's just for some reason, they just have closed on Sundays, but obviously they have their reasons, but I don't know. It just sucks. It's a relatable thing for everyone, I think.
And I'll end it on a baseball one. Although I enjoyed the food banter, and I'm glad we can agree on a lot of the
Yeah.
same Bloomington spots. I'm curious, like, if you could know just kind of like any, you mentioned just the coaching staff being kind of really good on the development side. What would you say has been kind of the most like notable kind of change for you that they've kind of helped you make, whether it kind of be something in swing mechanics, pitch recognition, anything like that, that you feel like has really helped you grow the most as a player?
Yeah. They kind of, when you come in here, they introduce you to, we call it our drill work. And it's like a set of drills you do to before you hit every day, or it's kind of to when you hit, you call you doing your drill work. A lot of loading drills. When you swing, you load. Obviously, that's the biggest thing that they helped me with was like having a load. Just timing is super important when you're hitting. Like having good timing. Yeah, if you're not on time, you're not gonna hit the ball. It's just the way it works. If you have good timing, you can hit the ball with a bad swing. It's just the way it works. And finding a comfortable load for me was like really important the fall last year, and they kind of helped me out with that with the loading drills we do. And then we do a close side thing where it's like a machine was like to your left almost and it kind of shoots like at your shoulder, but like in the zone, obviously. And that's like a drill where if your swing isn't working right, it's gonna show it. So like the ball flight, it's just instant results. You can tell how your swing is by just doing that. And so that paired with the loading drills that they taught us was a absolute game changer for me personally in the swing world. So that helped me a lot. Because obviously, I had a decent swing in high school, but it wasn't anything, special. So coming in here, and that really kind of elevated it a lot. And we talked about it a lot last year, how much better I got from the fall to the spring. It was just so much different. The jump was just I never even imagined it, but I got a lot better offensively for sure. And obviously, I'm super thankful for that. And they put a lot of time into it. So the coaches do a great job. They do individualized plans for every hitter, and they have a strict routine for you and they keep it simple, but also so you're, in the schedule and it's super, super helpful.
You mentioned kind of the individualized plans for every hitter. And what would you say is kind of unique to yours?
Everyone does. So like something that I do that actually like, no one else does is I use a short bat for like our open side drill work, loading drill, which is like I use a shoulder bat when it's like coming away from you. So there's close side, which is like coming across your shoulder. And then the open side's like coming, if it was straight up, it'd be like 2 feet to the right of it. So it's coming like open to you. That makes sense. I use a short bat, but no one else does. I just do it because it helps me stay short to the ball because I can get long sometimes in my swing. I can kind of cast my hands and get a little long, which causes me to be late and slower bats and stuff like that. So I do that no one else really does. I used to do a long bat drill instead, but now I use a short bat drill. I've kind of switched it up a little bit. That's so specific. It's pretty easy that I do that no one else does. Not that because no one else wants to do it or it just doesn't fit for their swing and fit for their plan or whatever it may be. But I love it, and the hitting coach Zach Weatherford was one who put me out of that and helped out a lot, even this fall when I started doing it. So that was definitely one thing that I had noticed.
Well, that'll be all for today's episode. Thank you all for joining in. Indiana shortstop Cooper Malamazian, thank you for joining the show. We will see you all.
Nice to meet you, Cooper.
Thank you very much. You as well.